Welcome everybody, this is Helen Mitas and I'm so thrilled today because I am interviewing the beautiful, the gorgeous Cheryl Elman. Welcome Cheryl.
Hi, I'm so glad we get to connect.
Yes, so for those of you who don't know, Cheryl Elman is married to Larry Elman, and Larry Elman is the son of the great DaveElman, and DaveElman is one of our pioneers in the hypnosis profession. And what he did was he was absolutely instrumental in making hypnosis well known in the medical community. And even to this day, if you're a hypnotherapist, you know about the Elman induction. And it's one of my personal favorites that I love doing with my clients. And both Cheryl and Larry, we're going to be talking to Larry on another day, but both Cheryl and Larry have been carrying the flag and have been brilliant advocates in continuing the education of hypnotherapy to their students. So tell me, Cheryl, what's it like to be an Elman?
You know, it's interesting. I was an Elman for about 6 years before I found out really about DaveElman and this whole thing. And it was Shawn Michael Andrews that contacted Larry to interview him. And I actually didn't even know that about the hypnosis until Larry was going to a nutritionist before we got married. And he looked, and on her board, you know, he was looking at a certificate from Jerry Kine. And so then she looked at him looking at it, and she said, Elman? Elman? That Elman? Are you related? And so it wasn't until I went with him a few weeks later, and he didn't even mention it to me, that she asked him to hypnotize her. So that was the first I knew about it. And I said, you know how to do that? Now, I had been hypnotized 16 years earlier for smoking. I was a heavy smoker, 2.5 to 3.5 packs a day, and stopped smoking with, you know, I had 2 appointments, but I stopped smoking with the first. Yeah. So when I first started learning about hypnosis and Shawn Michael Andrews was teaching me, I was just, I was really nervous. I wouldn't go on any groups or anything online or on HypnoThoughts, because if they saw the name Elman, they would think I knew what I was doing. So until I did know what I was doing more, I wouldn't go on anything.
And I've got to say, because I have seen Cheryl present at many times at many conferences, and it's not just the name. Cheryl is brilliant, and she is a brilliant trainer in her own right. And for Hypno-Biz Australia March 2020, Cheryl will be presenting on Diversifying Deepeners. Is that what your presentation is called?
Yep, Diversifying Your Deepeners. We trashed the other one because this is your favorite.
I love it. And I've also been in that presentation where she's taught deepeners, and they're brilliant. So tell us why this is your presentation at Hypno-Biz Australia in March 2020, Cheryl.
Because you requested it.
In St. Louis, and
yep.
And I used, you know, quite a number of those deepeners afterwards, and it's a really the class is interactional, and you don't just sit there and listen, you're actually doing everything that Cheryl's teaching you. And she's a brilliant teacher. She's to the point. I love her method of teaching. It's the way that I like it, which is to the point, matter of fact, here you go do it, and then we go and do it. So that's because I have a degree in special education and education. So I came from education first. Yes, absolutely. And I'm also a secondary school teacher to begin with first. And
right.
So because Cheryl has come from special education, she knows how to connect with her participants so that they're actually learning. They're not just
so if they look like they don't understand, they don't just say it louder. I actually rephrase and come up with, and the same thing you do with your clients. You know, it's important to connect with your clients. And I think that's one of the reasons that I do the deepeners. And that is because you want to have a variety. You know, not every single thing works for every person. I don't believe in just one way of doing things. I think it's important to go to conferences, and it's important for you to come to this conference because this is a nice size conference with a lot of good speakers from over the world. But I think it's important to get different tools in your toolbox, because you never know when you're going to use it. Or even if you sort of remember what somebody said, you can create from it.
Exactly. And what you just said was really important, which is that not everything is the same for everybody. There is no one size fits all. So, and the clients don't know what you're actually doing. So if you do one deepener and then that's not having the impact that you want, you can just move on to the next one, and they just think it's part of the one process. They don't know. So
besides, a deepener can be an induction. An induction can be a deepener. They all can be convincers, so they all go together, you know, and so having a variety, and sometimes you make them up yourself, you know, and it could be something that the client said, or creating a deepener from their interest, their safe place. So just creating and intertwining with that client. So having, you know, I think when I first learned, it was counting backwards 5 down to 1. I know some people count up. We count backwards for going in and up for going, for coming out. And I think it's great to go either way. Just do one for one and one for the other. Otherwise, I had somebody in a class in England years ago that she had learned the opposite way, and she was trying to switch it. So she was trying to merge them. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I mean, it kept going up and down. It reminded me of my Tennessee walking horse, who had a hard time going from his real fast walk into a nice canter. So for a minute, I would just grab the horn, because I knew it was like being in a popcorn machine, until he figured out his feet.
Yeah.
So,
so apart from Cheryl being a brilliant trainer, which I can absolutely attest to, she's also the most amazing dancer.
Are we dancing in Australia?
Of course we are. She's always the first one in the middle of the dance floor, or in a presentation room, who gets down and boogie. She's incredible. She is an original queen, aren't you?
I am an original.
You used to boogie down in New York at the disco.
I was a disco queen. I was.
Yeah, I love that. I love that about Cheryl. If you don't know her, you just fall in love with her, as I have. She's the one that I get my big hugs from, and I feel so much love from, and so you will love being in her presence. So tell us, Cheryl, about your flags behind you.
So these flags are Australia's here, because we taught in Australia in 2012. We taught in Melbourne for a weekend through Joan Goulding and the AAHCP. Am I saying it right? Mm-hmm. Belinda Holstrom. And I think there was one other group. And we spoke for ASH in Sydney. And then we taught a 9-day certification course up in Brisbane. So these are the 17 countries that we have already taught in. So Sean Michael Andrews bought us this. And right now we're neck and neck. So when I saw him last week, and I told him that we may be doing, that we're going to be going to New Zealand, which I just arranged last night, and also Vietnam, and then we may be, we are planning another tour in May and June in Europe. And there'll be another 3 countries I think we have not been to yet.
I love that. I love that. And it's such a...
So he goes, "What? You're trying to beat me on the flags?"
It's such a great visual of, you know, it's almost like what you're manifesting is this around the world experience, adventure, where you're imparting your training and your knowledge, and you're also experiencing the country as well. And I love that you've got that there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've gone to more air museums around the world, because that's one of Larry's favorite things to do. So, you know, Bob Burns is not a big museum fan. And when we were in Virginia at Jason Linnett's, when he taught there, we took him to the museum. And Lee, his wife, loves to go to museums. But, well, by the time he went through an air Museum at the Smithsonian with Larry. He was just amazed because he's like walking around with a docent.
Yeah.
So I do believe that we're going to be going to the museum in Canberra.
Okay.
Like in February, we're going to be, so some people are coming up from Melbourne, some people from coming down from New South Wales. So we're going to have Larry give us a tour over there of the museum. Is that cool?
That is really cool. It's just bucket list is getting ticked off everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right. So tell me this, you know, I know that I love talking to you and you're full of wisdom about so many things, and I just love being in your presence. Tell us something that is meaningful to you that you've learned over the years. Just one thing, anything.
I think that the main thing is, which is very Elmanian, is to be client-centered. Yeah. It's important. It's important whether you use scripts, whether you don't use scripts, whether you look at scripts, learn from it, or diversify from it, however you do it. The main thing is you have to be focused on your client and design the program and what you're doing for the client. So, and it's important as a trainer to not just know. If DaveElman were alive today, he would have diversified past the hypnotherapy book. I mean, he kept changing from when Larry took it when he was really young, 11, I think, the first class, and I think the last one was around 17. He took it 3 times. There were changes, and he learned from the doctors. So he collaborated with the doctors. They were out doing the field work. When somebody called, he would call somebody else and say, here, try this. So Dr. So-and-so in Atlanta said this worked. So the doctors were field testing for him. And that's where we come in handy. We getting together in conferences. We just got back from HypnoThoughts, So it's important to work with other hypnotists, hear their stories, hear their experiences, and collaborate. Because you never know what they're going to say that's going to help you down the road with a client.
And just leave the ego at the door. And not think that
that's important for clients too. John Weir, who we learned from, he's actually not out there doing hypnosis in the hypnosis world. He's in the golf world doing hypnosis, and he always said, leave your ego, leave yourself at the door when you walk in to work with a client.
I say that to therapists too, because if they're in the room and they're feeling fear about having a successful outcome, they're actually thinking about themselves. They're actually not focused on the client. And so,
I'm just counting. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Okay. So yes. So you have the opportunity. We'll collaborate. We'll share experiences on the deepening, diversifying your deepeners. You're going to learn 15 different deepeners.
15 different deepeners at Cheryl's class at HypnoBiz Australia, March 2020. Are you excited?
I'm excited. Are you guys excited out there? Yes. And I'm excited about you coming. We're really looking forward to seeing you all again. It's a long trip to Australia. I'm not sure, Larry, God bless him, is going to be 81 this year. I don't know how many more times we're going to come across that pond. But this is really great. And you'll get to do it, not only see it, demoed, you'll get to at least work quickly with each other. So, you'll learn a lot and collaborate.
Awesome.
And knock each other out.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. We cannot have a
Thank
conference
you.
without the Elmans. So,
well,
happy that both you and Larry are going to be a big part of HypnoBiz Australia, March 2020. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love and hugs.
Thank you. And we're really looking forward to coming. And again, I look forward to seeing you there. And definitely looking forward to seeing you again, Helen, because it's been a few months now.
Yeah.